Howdy.
I am still cracking up at this. I love it. So I was doing Zoom, and then I remembered that William, my coach, was like, "You really like 2 years ago was like, you really need to play with StreamYard." Well, now I see that. So I made our little banner here with it saying Airbnb, but I really didn't want to use that. But short-term rentals was a little bit longer and it didn't fit. And so I wanted our audience to at least see that you all hail the queen, Keri, short-term rental, Airbnb. I dub thee queen right
Thank
now.
you.
I met you a couple of years ago through Tommy Ray. We talked to Tommy a few days ago. So Facebook met him. We listened, we were entertained, but we were definitely given a lot of knowledge. And so I met you through him. And the first time I met Keri, I was like, who is this lady? Like, man, she is on fire. Like, we met at one of your short-term rentals, the one on A.
Yes.
The little green one? Yes. And I knew the guy, sort of. I'd met the guy through somebody. And you went in there and you let him know what was wrong with that house. And yeah, there was a lot. There was a whole lot. And you let him have it. And I said, this girl is a machine. I loved it. And I wanted to be Keri that day. Like, I wanted to be you. I wanted to use your superpower, your knowledge. I was inspired. And so now I want everybody else to know you.
Awesome. I'm ready to tell.
You've made friends with some of our friends too. I think Starla, you and Starla are really good friends now, and Hayden has called on you. So anyway, just tell us about Keri and what you do.
Well, I started out with just trying to initially get in with wholesaling, and was kind of unsure of exactly what I was doing, and I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to like collect properties, should you say to speak. And to be honest, the long-term rental just wasn't good for me. I didn't like the fact that people would destroy your properties. And it was really hard to get in to do inspections and to make sure they're doing the right thing. So I decided to go the short-term rental route. And it's worked out the best so far. So I really like it. I really enjoy it. Between short-term rentals or room rentals, that's the best way to go.
So you guys were the first ones to introduce me to room rentals. Now, I think I really didn't know anything. I'd heard like nurses sometimes come town and they might do stuff like that, but I didn't realize there was such a huge need, I guess, for that. And after visiting with you and visiting with Tommy, I was like, holy cow, you guys are killing it with these room rentals. And that's awesome. So let's go back to long term. That model did not work for you. It did not work for me for similar reasons. Every single time we'd have a turnover, I would spend a week or more painting, cleaning, ripping out, and not to say that it's not good for some people, because it is, I believe there's a model for everybody, but for you and I, that was something that we had in common. And so how long have you been doing the short-term rentals?
It's been about January will be 3 years. Yep.
That's
January was the first time
More money?
A lot more money. A lot more money. Most of my properties bring in around $2,200 a month. Yep.
That's pretty amazing. So the very first time, so we bought, I'm going to back up even more. I resigned from the school system 5 years ago. I had 12 years in the school system, and my retirement that I was able to draw out was $27,000. After 12 years, I said, I'm going to like quadruple this money. It's kind of sickening.
Yes.
So more than, by the way, in the end, more than, but we found a little house over on B and Southwest B,
15th
15th
Street.
and B, thank you. Yes. We rented it out for a while. It was a good little rental, but we were running into the same thing. People were not paying their rent. We were having to get people out. There were so many laws. That is like politics, in my opinion. I lost Keri. Let's see if she's, there she is. Okay, good.
Yeah. Sorry.
I left education because of the politics. I got into investing long-term rentals. People weren't paying their bills. I felt like I was back into politics again. Like I kept getting pushed back. I had no rights. I didn't have rights as an educator. I didn't feel like. Now I'm to the point where I don't have the rights as a landlord to have my property back. It was too hard. It was just too hard. And it shouldn't have been. It should not have been. So we decided to turn B into a short-term rental, Airbnb it. Girl, I paid like $15,000 for that house. And I was like netting, not even knowing what I was doing, netting like $1,100 a month on this little bitty $15,000 house I bought.
Yep.
With my retirement.
Yep.
And not that comes every single day, but it was great. So what did we do? We got another one. We paid nothing for this really nice house. I think
that on A Avenue.
Yes. Yes. Loved that house. Loved it. Made great money there. I then moved over to EXP. I was the only one at EXP. I was getting referrals from EXP. I wanted to grow this business here. I could not run that business and this business the way it needed to be done simultaneously. So I had to choose one. We sold out. Everything's great. But how do you maintain your Airbnbs or your short-term rentals?
So I pretty much do everything myself. It's really hard here to find a good housekeeper. It's really hard to find labor, maintenance. So to be honest with you, as of right now, I do everything myself. I do have my daughter and I have another girl that does come in like when I'm gone or if I have something else that's going on that I'm out of town. I do have some people that do come in and clean my properties. I have another gentleman that does do my labor for maintenance stuff, Richard. And I haven't had any problems with it. It sucks. It does take up my time that I shouldn't be having to put out. I really would like to be just the person on the backside of the computer that's dealing with them checking in and checking out stuff. I never have to meet my people. I never go to a door unless they lock the door somehow accidentally or there's some other issue. I like the fact that I don't have to make that face-to-face contact. Everything is keyless entry for me. I don't have people I have to meet to go and give them keys. It makes it really good that the people can come and go at any time that they choose. They can check in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Whatever time they get there is the time that they can check in. It doesn't stop them from being able to go. So my thing with, maintaining the properties is, it's a little bit of effort and time when they check out to go and clean and to have everything set up and reset up and done for them before my next check-in. So what I have done recently is I started making sure that I have a day in between in case there's a lot of extra. Some people will leave the house full of stuff, trashed everywhere, or I say everywhere, not like totaled out, but trash.
It's not after them. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Now I've clearly put in my rules. I'm very strict about my rules.
Sure.
Some have called me very OCD in the reviews, and that's okay. But I have it very clear. My cleaning fee covers for the house to be reset. It doesn't cover for me to clean behind somebody. Sure. It covers for the sheets to be all pulled off and clean and maintained and put back on. And then for the towels to be cleaned and for the entire house to be swept and mopped and cleaned up and everything disinfected. So my cleaning fee is not much. I only charge $80 cleaning fee.
Okay.
And then from there, everybody should be taking care of their own stuff, whether that's picking up all their own trash, putting the trash out in the trash can. It shouldn't be left in the house. That's just some of the little rules that I put in there. So
Absolutely.
I haven't had any problems with most people. There are a few that I do have that think that that's what the cleaning fee is for. And I just ding them on their review. It is what it is. So
Are you doing
how I kind of run.
Are you doing yours through Airbnb now?
So I am only doing through Airbnb. I had a mishap recently with VRBO's calendar and the sync. So I wound up having to change that over. I just cut off VRBO for right now until I can see what happened with the calendar, and then I'll put them back on VRBO too. But I get most of my traction in this area. Most of our traction is with Airbnb. So I just like to keep up things on Airbnb for now. That might not be the case before long. I would like to start a page for the entire area that we can actually have short-term rentals, and so that people can just advertise on there rather than having to deal with a platform like Airbnb, because Airbnb does take a lot of your money, number one. But the only really good thing about Airbnb is it's a security. They do provide insurance. They do provide a go-between where you don't have to have this he said, she said kind of crap or have to take somebody to court. I like the platform for the insurance purposes. That's the only reason I really like it.
That was kind of my next question to you, because when I think, and quote me if I'm wrong, when we first met, were you not doing it kind of on your own privately for a little bit?
I was.
Yes, I thought so. And I didn't know that you had gone ahead and moved over, but that was one of the pieces. I haven't done it in 3 years. But when I did get out of it and people would call me and say, hey, what's your opinion on this, or how do I get started? That was one of the biggest pieces for me, was the insurance piece of it. We were strict as well. We said, not more than this many people a night. We drove by one evening and they're having a big Christmas party. And so, I said, okay, that's fine. Anything happens, we'll let Airbnb take care of it. Sure enough, they had children there. They were jumping on the beds. One of the beds busted. And we're like, okay, that bed costs money,
Absolutely.
That bed costs money. And so fortunately, the lady that rented it was like, look, please do not put this on our review. Please, I will give you cash to replace this bed. And so we told her we got, from the place that we bought it. And she gave us cash and we appreciated that. But, those reviews for people that do use short-term rentals are very important to them. And so that is just that kind of accountability piece that I really like.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the fact that, if you do have a claim, it's easy to go through Airbnb. The monies are transferred right there. You don't have that issue of is their card going to be declined? Are they going to have issues? Are they going to put a stop hold on it or something? And, the fact that when it does go through Airbnb, if that does happen, Airbnb still covers it. So it's a nice bit of insurance.
It is. It really, really is. And
I've never had a problem offline with people. However, as we know, Ryan did, to where he had people staying there for a week that he had off of Airbnb. He rented to them off of Airbnb. They wound up trying to sell his refrigerarer, his TV, his beds, the mattresses.
I didn't know.
They had dogs and cats and chickens and rabbits in the house.
Oh
yeah. But he also wasn't checking. I personally have cameras on all of my Airbnbs. I see who comes and goes. I don't sit and check and watch it. I check to make sure who's checking in, and I kind of leave it be at that point. If somebody pushes a doorbell, I look just to make sure it's not somebody trying to come by and sell stuff.
Absolutely.
For the most part, I don't have any issues. And I think Airbnb and security, is a major, it's a peace of mind, and I like a peace of mind. I don't like to have to worry about things. Absolutely. So I let it kind of roll on its own. And if somebody does have more guests, I don't say anything until after they leave.
Mhm.
And after they leave, I send them a request for more money if it was because they were over. So I charge for my fee charges, like I allow 5 people in, and then anything over 5 people is $20 extra per night. So by charging the extra, if they have only 5 people, but there's 10 people, I send them a bill for the extra amount of people that they had. So
that's awesome.
my thing is if you have small little ones or whatever, I don't mind, but I don't like when people are fictitious about how many people they have, especially if it's adults, and then they want to complain that there's not enough blankets or sheets. Well, I didn't know that you had this many people, so of course I didn't leave that kind of stuff out for you.
Absolutely. No, that's nice. So it sounds like you're very systemized, and I think that's very important. When people are getting into this business, and it's a business. I mean, it is a full-time job, and it can be very profitable, but it does take up time. And I think the more systemized you are, and maybe if there is leverage available to you, that makes it a much better experience. Tiffin Easton says, hi. Hi, Tiffin. That's awesome. No, I think it's so nice and it's so wonderful and it's such a good business. And my husband and I have been talking about that lately. Is this something that we want to get back into? With the market shift, we don't know what's happening. We have no idea. We don't have a clue. And so, but we do know that there is a need for that. And I know a lot of people kind of got out of it because their lives got so busy. And so I think this is a common theme that I say, we're almost back to breathing again. We're all kind of coming back to reality after the last couple of years. And we're not so wild and crazy running all over the place and trying to figure out how to do life. Now we're like, okay, let's get our priorities straight again. Now it's time to start fresh. So what do we want to do? And so there is such short-term rentals are awesome to me.
I agree.
We use them. I'll never forget. It was one of the ladies over on B. I forget why she needed me to come over, but I did have to come over for something.
The heater.
It was, oh my God. Yes, it was that heater. Holy cow. Let me just tell you about that heater. And that was the lady in the heater, but the heater. She brought, the whole house was full. Mind you, she was there for 3 days. We had clothes all over the house. Dishes that were not mine. So I'm pretty sure she was kind of in a transition of some sort in her life, which was fine. She left and you would have never known. You would have never had known. And that was so wonderful because in that time, I made probably as much in that 5 days as I would in a whole month as a long-term rental. And when she left, I was sweating it. I'm not going to lie. I was sweating it, but it was perfect. You would have never have known she was there.
Yep. Yeah. I had a couple with 7 kids that was in one of my houses recently. And I was like, oh my Lord, they're there for 4 days. Oh my Lord. And they checked out. It was spotless.
Yes.
It was probably cleaner than whenever they even checked in. Yeah.
Right. I know. That's how this lady was. And it was so good for the heart knowing that my property is being taken care of.
Yep. The worst part is whenever you have 1 or 2 people and you think, oh, it's going to be an easy clean behind, and it's the worst. And you're just like, why? It's crazy.
I did learn that people, I overall had really great reviews. I think I had one time. In fact, I was in Oklahoma City overnight, and this lady called me, and she was like, "This is not what's in the pictures." And I'm like, no, it really is.
I've
got plenty of reviews that say I was not surprised. So I'm like, did you click on the wrong one? Anyway, she's like, there's cobwebs in the corners. And I thought, I never in a million years would have thought to have my cleaner clean the cobwebs in the corner. So you learn as you go. You learn as you go.
They will pick it apart. The littlest things.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I added that to my list, and is there anything else? No, but I got to get out of here. This is not what was in the pictures and those cobwebs in the corners. And I'm like, Okay, I'm sorry.
Welcome to Oklahoma.
I know, like that will happen overnight. Like,
Welcome.
sorry,
Yes.
that will happen like
I
immediately.
clean my corners all the time for that
Yeah.
reason. I have had them say the same thing, and it's crazy. They will literally pick dust on your ceiling fans or
Yeah,
like every little thing they will pick apart. It's like
they do.
it's lived in. It's a house that multiple people come and
Yes.
go in. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I got one time. There's a hair on my pillowcase. I was like, really? Like, I washed. Oh, I bet it's my hair. No, my bad. I'm sorry. I was like, I
It
washed it.
happens and people
I
don't get
washed those
it.
things. So you just
The
learn as
worst
you go. You learn
the
as you
thing
go.
is you wash clothes, and when you wash clothes, hair will get entwined within the sheets. It
Yes,
happens.
it does.
It happens.
So after that,
Yeah.
I made sure that every time, I mean, I do anyway. I don't, but I mean, I really looked for those things. So
Yeah.
anytime I would
Yeah.
get something like that, boy, next time they won't see that again, you know?
Yep. Exactly.
But it is,
Yep.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It can be work, you know, and I think it takes time, but it's very, very profitable
Yes.
and it can be fun. And you're helping people too,
Yeah.
you know? It's so much more convenient to stay in a home a lot of times. And if you've got a large family and they're on a budget, they can come together and stay in a house together. And that's just really nice. Like,
I think so too. I think it's really great for these soldiers that most of my customers are the soldiers that come with family. The families will come, they'll rent the property, and then they have their soldier be able to come and relax and have a home cooked meal, and which I think is the best.
it
So that's kind of
is.
one of the best things that I think especially for these kids that are coming off from post, especially after eating nothing but chow hall food all the time.
Absolutely. 100%. That was one of the big things that we had in our reviews. Our soldier, our son, our daughter,
Mhm.
you know, and it was
Yep.
like, that's cool. We appreciate you. Or the
Mhm.
house was really great. You know, that it does. It makes you feel good, and you know,
Mhm.
you kind of just help somebody, and we would take care of people sometimes, you know, and I don't know. It was just nice. I don't want to go there, but
Mhm.
but
Yep.
it would be nice for sure.
Yep.
Well, if somebody out here right now is looking to get into short-term rentals, what do you think they should do? Where do we go? Where do we start?
I say start out with, whatever your property is. As we know, Lawton is a street to street basis. So if you're looking for properties, I'd
Mhm.
suggest finding a good street, number one, something
Okay.
that's probably close to either the hospitals
Mhm.
or a recreational center or even post.
Yes.
And I know that most of our houses here on post are not that great. So
I,
if you do purchase in this area, zone
mhm.
one area, then I would suggest being on an end cap of one of the streets or towards the end of whether it's Sheridan or whether it's Fort Sill Boulevard. Just try to stay away from the centers because you don't, not being ugly, but you don't want a lot of people driving in to the streets because they're not that great. And as we know, every Wednesday, there's trash pickup and people pull a lot of trash out on their street corner and it looks bad. And then people think automatically they're in a bad neighborhood, and it's not always the case.
That's
Um,
great point.
so location is one of the biggest things for Airbnb, number one.
Mhm.
So when you're purchasing your property, think about that. Is somebody going to want to drive by the street at nighttime? Is somebody going to want to drive down the street, during the day? What are they seeing? So that's one of the biggest things, and a proximity to everything.
Mhm.
Where is it located, as in to whatever it is that they're coming for, whether that's for their kids on post or whether that's for a recreation or the hospital or something like that. So location is the biggest thing, and then literally setting your house up minimalized and with all the necessities. It doesn't have to have a whole bunch of gaudy stuff. Don't leave grandma's stuff in the house. Don't leave. Don't put stuff that you just picked up, because you could, and it doesn't match anything else. Make it look presentable. I mean, if you look at some of these Airbnbs, you're like, did grandma pass away and they left everything there? Oh my goodness. So,
We can get such good stuff off of Wayfair. My whole houses were full of Wayfair. It was
mhm,
very, very reasonable. Dollar Tree has dishes, you know, and
yes,
good dishes. These aren't
yes,
even crap dishes. These are good dishes.
yep.
I had the cutest little set. I loved my little bee house. It had the cutest
Mhm.
stuff in there, and I
Mhm.
probably filled that. The only thing I think I regret is I was just going by the picture. I didn't know, but the couch was a little weird, but
Yeah, you had the futon couches in there, but they
Yes.
provided extra sleeping,
It
so it
did.
provided its purpose. So, I
Yes.
mean, and that's another thing is, key is how many people do you want to be able to stay at your property? So when you only have the two twins in one side and a queen and a twin on the other side, it was nice to be able to provide those extra two futons that were capable of having somebody
That
also
was a
stay.
good
So,
point, but they didn't
yeah.
look exactly like the picture. They looked then I
Uh,
went back and looked at the picture and I was like, "Well, maybe it kinda does."
at a
But
different angle. Yeah.
it was yeah, and of course, I didn't know, and I didn't look at the measurements, and so they were, like, really low to the ground, but absolutely. One of the
Mhm.
things that we got a lot of comments on or questions was, how far is it from post? And I
Mhm.
love being able to say, "I'm 1 street off of the main road.
Mhm.
I'm 1 street," and so like you said, going deep into a neighborhood,
Yep.
they didn't have to do that. We were 1 street off on both of ours,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
that
which is
made it
great. That's how A is, and
yes.
most of my properties are in zone 1. I have 4 properties that are in zone 1. So,
Mhm.
I love it. I everybody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you have properties in zone 1." I'm like, "They do the best." Between all of
Yeah.
those properties that I have in zone 1, they do the best. And then I have a property over off of, Dearborn,
Mhm.
which is Old Town North,
Mhm.
and people love Old Town North, especially since it's walking distance to,
Yes.
the park, to Elma Thomas Park.
Mhm.
So I like the fact that, the location is perfect for most people,
Yes.
because that's one of the biggest things they ask. How far away from it? Well, it's 2.1 miles from the post. It's
Yeah.
literally 5 minutes from the post,
Right.
and they
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
So
I know. I managed one for a buddy of mine over in Turtle Creek, like townhouses,
right
and
off
that
of
was
Rogers.
really
Hmm.
cool. Yes, and that was like super nice. It was perfect
Hmm.
location. It was quick to base. I don't know.
Hmm.
At one point when we were still doing it, I think they were requiring the soldiers not to be a certain mileage away. And so
Hmm.
that was playing a part in it. I think that might, I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of into it about a year before I knew about that. And so, which we were fine,
Yeah.
but we had talked about buying a whole bunch of them at that point. Again, this is before
Yeah.
I moved to EXP. And so this was going to be it. We were going to have these all over town. And so you kind of, I think we might have to be mindful of that too, is making
Hmm.
sure they're not a certain distance away
Yeah.
from um,
From post.
from
Hmm.
post. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, girl. It's been good to you. It's been good to a lot of people. It was
Yeah.
good to me. I think I'm thinking about getting back into it. Huh, we bought a house at Grand Lake and we can't even do it. We can't even, and that's fine. We didn't buy it to put it on Airbnb. We bought it to enjoy it. But we had talked about possibly, doing it occasionally in the spring and the summertime. And that's what's nice, kind of like what you said a while ago. I can put a day in between my rent, my stays.
Hmm.
That was great because I could do the same thing or more. If I knew
Yep.
that I was going to be gone,
Hmm.
I'd take that out. So it's
Yep.
very self-paced. You can do
Yes.
as much, kind of like real estate. You can do as much as you
Yep.
want or as little as you
As well
want.
as you want it. Hmm. Yep.
You can determine that, and that makes it nice.
So why aren't you able to turn that one into a short-term rental?
It's in the covenants and restrictions.
Oh, it's in the HOAs.
It
Got
is.
it.
Yep,
Got
yep.
it.
And they just changed that in July. So prior to
Mm.
that, it was 7-day minimum, or yeah, minimum 7 days.
Mm. Well, still, you could still put it on for week or 2 week increments if you wanted to. Then.
Oh yeah. Well, the new restrictions, the covenant said none at all.
Oh,
That's why,
wow.
yeah. So that came out in July, and I didn't know that. I mean, so I guess it really hasn't been published yet because the restrictions and covenants that I got at closing say 7 days. But
Mm.
so, I mean, I might be able to. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to fight it. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Again, that's not why I bought it. It's not. So it's not a big deal. But we're like, dang, we could have done that a little bit.
Were they having issues with people that were renting out, or?
So the latest that I heard is, and my friend can probably clarify this a little bit better, but he was saying that the concern with the HOA was the common areas. So there's no insurance on the common areas, and our homes sit on common areas. So we don't have our own yard. Basically, the development owns our yard. So we can walk through, drive through, whatever we want to do. And I mean, it's beautiful. The HOA maintains the yards for us. So I think their concern was having strangers in, and there was no maybe insurance involved in that. I don't know. This is just kind of what I got recently. So, well, dang. Oh, well. But my friends can still go up there and hang out. And that's
always a plus.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of funny. Like, okay, so if my friends want to go and they want to stay, sure, go ahead. But I just can't put a price on it. Okay. I was telling Tommy, y'all do need to come up and y'all need to see this condo. That is at Shangri-La. Look it up. Shangri-La Tower. I think it's called the Tower at Shangri-La or something like that. But really cool. It used to be cool. It's a little scary now.
Uh-oh.
We all need to go in and make it not scary because it's probably prime real estate. Like prime.
What's changed its atmosphere? What's going on?
Old. It's just old. It's just old. It's sad. Like some of the units, I mean, I saw one of the units. The units are beautiful, but the units are having a hard time selling because the facility is like, they have an indoor pool, but I probably wouldn't want to get in that indoor pool.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so sad. Like years and years ago, 30 years ago, it's got these big windows, this big giant ballroom upstairs with the windows that look over the lake and the golf course. It's so beautiful. And then the facility itself is icky. Like, it's like, this is sad. Like, it's sad. It needs to not be sad anymore. That's
not good.
It reminds me kind of the Palms in Destin. I can remember once upon a time, like, they were big and booming.
Prime.
Yes. They were crap. Now they're big and booming again. Prime, and it's like,
it's the right person got a hold of them.
Absolutely. So, anyway, Keri, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So excited. This is fun. I want to talk to you again. So we've got our podcasts. Some of my equipment came in. So this is kind of the start of it, but we're going to have like a sit down type, and I want you to come in person and let's really dig deep into what you guys are doing more.
That'd be great. Yeah. Especially with, purchasing properties and whatnot too. So definitely.
There is so much to learn from you, and you have such a plethora of knowledge. This is just kind of where I wanted to start to introduce you, because we do get a lot of questions on short-term rentals. And so I thought, okay, let's start with Keri. But then when I get all that equipment together, we'll have you in and we'll sit down and we'll have a good time.
Definitely. If anybody has any questions, they can always contact me too. I have no problem with sharing.
Yes. Keri is Keri Starr on Facebook. Yep. Keri, Starr. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. Follow my friend Keri.
All right.
Bye, Keri.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.